I've been in the Gospel of John, and there are lots of important, interesting arcs that the Gospel writer has in there about who Jesus is and what he's done. But one of those arcs is about the various people that Jesus meets. These encounters with all kinds of people, and right in the beginning of the Gospel, it says, "Whosoever puts their faith in the name of Jesus, he gives them the right to become a child of God." Doesn't matter who we are. If we put our faith there in him, things change. But what if Jesus met a skeptic? How would Jesus address that? I mean, being a skeptic strikes right at the heart of having faith, doesn't it? But we're going to see here that's not exactly true. As Jesus encounters one of his own disciples, after Jesus has been executed, there are these reports that Jesus has come back from the dead. And one of his disciples, Thomas, very famously, won't believe it. And we're going to look at that story and see how Jesus engages skepticism from the Gospel of John in chapter 20. Now, Thomas, one of the 12, called the twin, was not with them when Jesus came. So the other disciples told him, "We have seen the Lord." But he said to them, "Unless I see in his hands the mark of the nails, and place my finger into the mark of the nails, and place my hand into his side, I will never believe." 8 days later, his disciples were inside again, and Thomas was with them. Although the doors were locked, Jesus came and stood among them and said, "Peace be with you." Then he said to Thomas, "Put your finger here and see my hands, and put out your hand and place it in my side. Do not disbelieve, but believe." Thomas answered him, "My Lord and my God." Jesus said to him, "Have you believed because you have seen me? Blessed are those who have not seen, yet have believed." This is a powerful and important story because we all have doubts. We like to think of ourselves as people of conviction and certain of certain things, but when hard things come our way, a hard diagnosis or a relationship falling apart, we have doubts. We have doubts about God's goodness. We have doubts about what God has really done. And here we have the Apostle Thomas, who has devoted his life following Jesus, and Jesus has been executed. His heart is broken. So when he hears the story that Jesus has come back from the dead, it seems too good to be true. So much so that he refuses to consider the possibility. "I will not believe." And what I want to do is kind of walk through some aspects, or talk about some aspects of doubt and where it comes from and how we might address it. This isn't in the text itself, but I often think about conversations with people that there are three main seats of dialogue, of conversation, and of doubt. There's the mind, there's the heart, and there's the will. Mind, there are questions that we have, the questions of the mind. This doesn't make sense to me. This is why I object. This is why I have doubts. Then there's the heart. There are worries in the heart. We're worried about our hearts being broken. We're worried about being taken advantage of. And then there's the will, a doubting will. Maybe not the right way to put it, but it can be a seat of doubt because we have to engage. We can have our questions answered. We can have our worries reassured. But in the end of the day, there's this moment where we need to go, I'm going to engage. I will believe this. We often think, well, a moment will come and I'll just naturally begin to believe if it's a true thing. It makes me think of my college ministry days. Lots of stories of boy meets girl, and couples falling in love and getting married. And I would have a lot of conversations, particularly with young men, who would say, I really love this young lady, but how do I know that she's the one? And I would say to them, if you're looking for some epiphany after contemplating all these things and running through it in your mind and seeing that this is a powerful thing emotionally, and if you're waiting for it to be easy to commit yourself, then just give up on this thing, because it's never going to be easy. You have to decide. How do you know that she's the one? Because you make her the one, and you decide. And you decide this day and every day hereafter that she is the one. It's a commitment of the will. And this is where Jesus is with Thomas. Here's the proof. Your questions have been answered. I am alive. Your worries are reassured. Now believe. Put your trust in me. I remember a TV show a number of years ago called Lost. And it was this kind of crazy science fiction show. And one of the dynamics in the show were between two characters, Locke and Jack. Now, Jack he's a surgeon, he's a scientist, he's a man of logic and reason. And Locke is someone who has seen incredible things and has embraced it. The strange things on the island, he's kind of moving with it, whereas Jack is always trying to fight the mystery and come up with some rational explanation. And finally, there's this confrontation between Locke and Jack over embracing something in the island. And you can tell Jack is just so angry and frustrated with all this. And finally, Locke just yells at him and says, why do you find it so hard to believe? And Jack yells back at him, why do you find it so easy? And Locke responds, it's never been easy. As it relates to issues of faith and trusting the Lord, it's not easy. It's not complicated, not necessarily. And we should have questions answered. We should seek reassurance. But at the end of the day, we have to decide. Will we trust this? Jesus says, don't disbelieve, but believe. He's raised from the dead. And that promises a good future for us, that even our death will not reign over us, but he will give us new life. What will you decide to do? Put your faith in Jesus.